like to call this delegation session to order. Today is Wednesday, November 3rd, and it is third day, second regular session. It is approximately 1:37 in the afternoon. And before we continue, I'd like for everybody to stand up so we can have a moment of silent prayer. And please include in your prayers all that are battling the COVID 19. Thank you, members. And before we move on, because the floor leader of the delegation, floor leader Sheila Babauta, is on official business, I hereby appoint Congressman Angel de Mapan to be the acting floor leader for today's proceedings. And with that, I'd like the clerk to take note of that and to go ahead and proceed with the today's roll call.
Representative Fadda,
Present.
Representative Fattau,
Present.
Representative Babauta Selina, Representative Babauta Sheila, Representative Kamatsu Joel,
Here.
Representative Kamatsu Vicente, Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Here.
Representative Demapan,
Stick out.
Representative Flores,
Present.
Representative Guerrero,
Stick out.
Representative Lizama,
Present.
Representative Magofnia,
Present.
Representative Probst, Senator Kirgwa, Representative Sablan Christina, Representative Sablan Jampo,
Stick out.
Chairman Sablan Vini,
Gaga.
Representative Staffler, Representative Villa Gomez,
Hello.
Representative Yangtamay,
Nyangi.
Representative Yumu. Mr. Chairman, there are 15 members present, 6 members absent.
Thank you, clerk. With 15 members present and 6 members absent, we do have a quorum. And just for the record, Representatives Christina Sablan, Representatives Lila Staffler, Representative Vicente Camacho, Representative Ralph Yumo, and am I missing another one? And Representative Selena Bata are hereby excused for this delegation session. And as we move on, before we get to item B, reading and approval of the journal, I'd like to recognize the floor leader for the proper motion to include several communications that have been posted after the call for session. So recognize acting floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to move that we suspend Rule 6, Section 1, pertaining to the order of business so that we may include communications that have been received after the agenda was posted. So moved.
So there's been a motion for suspension of the rules that has been seconded. Discussion? Ready? Okay, clerk, please call the roll for
Representative Fadda,
Yes.
Representative Fattau,
Yes.
Representative Kamatsu Joel,
Good.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Representative Demapan,
Hungan.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero,
Good.
Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Magofnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst, Senator Kirgwa, Representative Sablan Jampo,
Hungan.
Representative Villa Gomez,
Yes.
Representative Yangtamay.
Aware.
Mr. Chairman,
Hungan.
Mr. Chairman, all 15 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 15 members present voting yes on the suspension of the rules, the motion carries. And we move on to item B, recognize the floor leader, acting floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have one journal on agenda today, SNILD Journal number 22-6 from the second day, second regular session on September 1st, 2021. Mr. Chairman, I move for its adoption.
There's been a motion to adopt SNILD Journal 22-6. It has been seconded. Discussion on that motion? Ready? All in favor to adopt SNILD Journal number 22-06, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And now we move down to item C, public comments. This is the portion of our agenda where we will allow anyone that is present here in the gallery to provide public comments pertaining to only items that are on today's agenda. So the podium is now open for public comments. And please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Chairman Sablan and this august body. My name is Alex Sablan. I would be remiss if I didn't step up and provide some comments for Edna Nisola, who is going before this august body for vote, I believe, for the zoning board. As many of you know, we have a excellent public-private partnership program within the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors, of which I'll put where credit's due. Edna Nisola single-handedly, in effect, manages 69 partners and 74 locations within the Marianas on Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda. And so, her organizational skills, in my view, are second to none. The group has much heralded her efforts within the organization, with GCEA, and then also within our organization of TAN Holdings, and the many duties that she has on top of handling this project. She's also involved with our communications within the organization and within GCEA, and has again taken her degree and put it to good use in marketing and in finance and in many other aspects that have provided for a smooth operation within the GCA and within the TAN Holdings organization. I want to thank Chairwoman Edith De Longuerero and the committee members that put forward a rather excellent committee oversight on her appointment. I want to thank Governor Torres and Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios for putting her forward for the zoning board. The many accolades that were provided during her hearing are true to the nature. She is a very strong candidate for this position, and I provide that she will put all her effort into being a great zoning board member. So with that, I thank this august body for their vote today and hopefully the confirmation of Edna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sablan. Is there anyone else? I'd like to also recognize the presence of our zoning administrator, Geraldine De La Cruz. Thank you for joining us, Administrator. So anyone else before we close public comments? Okay, for the record, there are no additional public comments. And again, as before we started the session, I did ask that we move to item M so that we could act on the appointment of Ms. Edna Nisola. So with that, I'd like everybody to move forward to item M on the agenda. We will act on Standing Committee Report number 22-10, then we'll move back to the order of business and we'll go from there. So with that, for the first Standing Committee Report, I recognize the Acting Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, we have Standing Committee Report number 22-10. SNILD Standing Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations reporting on the appointment of Ms. Edna Grace Rios Nisola to serve as a member of the Commonwealth Zoning Board. Your committee recommends her confirmation. Mr. Chairman, I move for its adoption.
There has been a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 22-10. It has been seconded, and for the record, after the vote, we will go through the roll call, and if the standing committee report garners a majority of the votes, the standing committee report will hereby be adopted, and that does confirm you to become a zoning board member. So with that, clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Adda,
Yes.
Representative Fatta,
Yes.
Representative Komatsu Joel,
Ngan.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Representative Demapan,
Hungan.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero,
Ngan.
Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Magofnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst, Senator Kirigua, Representative Sablan Jampo,
Ngan.
Representative Villa Gomez,
Yes.
Representative Yantamay,
Aware.
Mr. Chairman.
Hungan.
Mr. Chairman, all 15 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 15 members voting yes, standing committee report number 22-10 is hereby adopted, and now your confirmation is in order. I'd like to take a quick recess for a photo op with your masks on, of course. So Edna, please come up to the dais. Okay, we are now back from recess, and we are now under item D, introduction of local bills. And at the moment, I'd like to recognize Representative Joel C. Camacho for the first introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Officially introducing House Local Bill number 22-18 to amend Title 10, Division 3 of the Commonwealth Code by inserting a new Chapter 15 to establish permitting requirements for aircraft and/or personal landings in the Northern Islands and for other purposes, introduced by myself and Representative Sheila Babalta, and open for other co-sponsors. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Camacho. And next, I'd like to introduce Representative Denita K. Yangtamay for the second introduction.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to formally introduce House Local Bill number 22-19 to amend Title 10, Division 3, subsection 3702, authorization to the municipalities to require dog owners to be responsible for their pets' solid waste disposal, introduced by myself and two of my best friends here, Rep. Richard Lizama and Rep. Floor Leader Ralph Hummel, and I welcome others.
Thank you, Congresswoman Yangtamay. And for the next introduction, I'd like to recognize Congresswoman Magofnia for the introduction for Congresswoman Babalta's bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, colleagues. On behalf of our colleagues, Representative Selena Babalta, I would like to formally introduce House Local Bill 22-24. This bill is to appropriate $2 million specifically under Business Unit 1605 and for other purposes. The author also welcomes other members' support and the expeditious passage of this important bill. Sizes Masi.
Thank you, Congresswoman Magofnia. And next, I'd like to recognize Representative Joseph Lipon Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is to officially introduce House Local Bill number 2222 to amend the Saipan of official zoning map sheet 05 of 29 to rezone certain district to mixed commercial and for other purposes, introduced by myself and welcome others. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Congressman Lipon. And for our last introduction, I'd like to recognize Representative Blas Jonathan Ato.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Formally introducing to the delegation House Local Bill number 22-27 to appropriate $4 million from fees collected pursuant to Public Law 20-10 and for other purposes, introduced by myself and several others, and I welcome all the members of the delegation to be co-sponsors of the legislation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Congressman Ato. Is there any other unnumbered local bills for introduction today? There's none. Before we move on, the floor leader, in accordance to the rules, will refer these legislations to the appropriate committees. Moving on. Letter E, clerk. None on local resolutions. Letter F.
Mr. Chairman, we have three. Governor's Communication 22-13, 22-14, and 22-15.
Thank you, clerk. Anything on the governor's communications? Messages from the governor? Ready? Okay, we move on. Messages from the mayors of Saipan and the Northern Islands. Item G, clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have Mayor's Communication 22-23 to 22-27.
Okay, open for comments under messages from the mayor of Saipan and Northern Islands. Ready? Moving on to reports and communications from the heads of department and agencies. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have two department and agency communication number 22-3 and 22-4.
Any discussions? Ready? Moving down to item I, House Communications. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have 12 House Communication number 22-13 through 22-24.
Discussion? You ready? There's none under item J, Senate Communications. Item K, Delegation Matters. Clerk?
Mr. Chairman, we have 15. Delegation matters number 22-61 to 22-75.
Okay, any discussion? Ready? Moving down to miscellaneous communications. Recognize the clerk again.
Mr. Chairman, we have miscellaneous communications numbers 22-33 to 22-60.
Any discussions? Okay, move on to back to item M. We will dispose of one standing committee report for adoption, and as soon as it garners the votes for adoption, it will move to the bill calendar. So at this time, under reports of standing committees, to act on standing committee report number 22-11, I hereby recognize the acting floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, we have Standing Committee Report number 22-11 from the SNILD Standing Committee on Zoning, reporting on Senate Local Bill number 22-9, entitled "To Amend the Saipan Official Zoning Map Sheet 23 of 29 to rezone certain districts to mixed commercial and for other purposes." Your committee recommends that the delegation pass Senate Local Bill number 22-9 in its current form. Mr. Chairman, I move for its adoption.
There's been a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 22-11. It has been seconded. All in favor for that motion, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And Standing Committee Report number 22-11 in reference to Saipan Local Bill number 22-9 hereby moves to today's bill calendar. So moving on, there is none under reports of special and conference committees, none under unfinished business, none under the resolution calendar, and onto the bill calendar. Acting Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have one bill on calendar today, and that is Senate Local Bill 22-9 to amend the Saipan Official Zoning Map Sheet 23 of 29 to rezone certain districts to mixed commercial and for other purposes. Mr. Chairman, I move for its passage.
There's been a motion for the passage of Saipan Local Bill number 22-9. It has been seconded. Any discussion? Before we move to the vote, I'd just like to thank the chairwoman of our SNILD zoning committee for her work in getting this bill into format under the reports of standing committees. I know she had meetings with the administrator. The bill is supported by the zoning office, and there were several comments in support as well. So I'd like to thank the members of the SNILD Zoning Committee and the chairwoman, Congresswoman Leila Staffler, for their work on this local bill. So with that, clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Adda,
Yes.
Representative Acto,
Yes.
Representative Camacho Joel,
I'm good.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Representative Demapan,
Hungan.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero,
Good.
Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Magofnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Senator Kirigua, Representative Sablan Jampo,
Good.
Representative Villa Gomez,
Yes.
Representative Yangtamay.
Aware.
Mr. Chairman,
Hungan.
Mr. Chairman, all 15 members voted yes.
Thank you, clerk, with 15 members voting yes. Saipan Local Bill number 22-9 hereby passes the delegation. Moving on, there are no more bills under the bill calendar. Moving on to miscellaneous business. Any miscellaneous business from any of the members? Ready? Any announcements? We're ready? And we move on to item T. And for the proper motion for adjournment, I'd like to recognize the acting floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I move to adjourn subject to your call.
There's been a motion to adjourn. It has been seconded. All in favor to adjourn today's SNILD session, please say aye. All who oppose, say nay. Motion carries. And our delegation session is hereby adjourned. Thank you, members. And yeah.